Welcome guys, this is RGB Fox aka the real A-Town, and I am going to go over here and showcase this two duels that I had with my friend here. I'll call him Opium for the time being, and I am playing Fire Kings against Ryzeal. Now, the reason I was playing Fire Kings is because I wanted to actually take it to a regional, but I am not going to be able to go. So I'm just going to showcase this instead as to the kind of power that it still can have. Even though we are in a new format now, we have Blue Eyes to worry about, although I have already played against Blue Eyes and was very close to beating it, but I never draw hand traps against them. It sucks. That being said though, this deck is a lot harder to pilot than I thought, but I think I played it overall decently well. There's probably other things that I could have done to fully optimize any hand that I had, but overall I think through my faults I played around what I needed to at the very least consistently. So what do we have here? Well, you see me going first, opening Ponix, Garunix, Ulcanix, Nib, and the Skyburn, and opening the high avatar Garunix is the worst one to open, but it happens. Meanwhile, my opponent has double Nib, Sword, Fulos, and Crossout. Not the best opening hand, although not too bad if you're going second, but against Fire Kings, that Fulos really gets no value whatsoever. So I start with a summon Ponix effect, bring the Sanctuary effect, place the Island pop to search the Garunix, and then Garunix to summon from hand. From here, I am going to send the Kirin to special summon the Ulcanix from the hand, and I'm doing this so that I can grab a Kirin to my hand so that I can trigger the Garunix next turn, and then set the Skyburn pass. From here, I go Ponix to add to my hand, and then Fulos gets dropped, which you might be wondering why exactly would you Fulos there? Well, really the reason is because Sanctuary could give him a draw. However, one thing that he ends up doing is summoning the X by dumping the the Myriad Logic Aggregator, which kind of shuts away any ability for him to actually get something from the Fulos. So perhaps that could have been an Eclipse Twins instead. I don't know. But yeah, from here he goes for the Summon the Duo Drive, and then when he attempts to use the effect to search, I go pop the Ulcanix here. And from here, I'm able to now trigger the Garunix, sending Arvata to the graveyard, and now Ponix Chainlink 1, or Chainlink 2 rather, and Arvata Chainlink 2 to summon out the Kirin. So at this point, I am at, let's see, 1, 2, 3 summons, right? So I'm not playing into Nib just yet. From here, he summons the Node, special summons the Sword, and then I go Kirin to destroy my Kirin and special summon it. Luckily, it doesn't have any stipulations on which card you can or cannot pop. And I summon the Arvata after popping, or rather summon Arvata with the Kirin and then popping the Node. And the reason for this is, well, I mean, he already used the effect, but if he started with Ryzeal, I know that he doesn't have anything to push forward for a few reasons. Number one, he did not start with Fiendsmith stuff, right? So the Fiendsmith stuff is out of the question. He normal summoned Sword to start, which means he didn't have the Ice to be able to push forward, right? Because otherwise you just start with Ice instead. At this point he has used Node, right? Meaning that he has very little chance to be able to take advantage of the of something like summon Ice afterwards, because I think at this point in time it's like if he has it, he's down to one card, and then I can just Arvata negate or prevent the detonator to do anything. Or if he decides to exit on me, I do lose a lot of stuff, but I get follow up with Ponix next turn. I get the Arvata, right? Like, I have a few things that can still get me into the game. But I don't want to get hit with the X a ton if, you know, I'm able to like protect everything, right? So yeah. And then that also sets up a monster negate too, right? So we love those. Next, game 2. He opens Lurry, Ice, Nib, Tract, and Perulia, whereas I start with Druisworm, Extrav, Island, Olcanex, and Extrav. Not the best thing. I did side one out this game, but it happens. Now, he kept in Perulia. I guess he doesn't really have much to side against me, but that's understandable. This deck is kind of like, you know, it does play around the Molchummies very well, right? So, he goes ahead and drops it, and funny enough, because I have Druisworm, it is actually pretty good if you open it, and also this can also help play through like a Kirin, whereas he can get another draw. I mean, honestly, it's not too bad. But yeah, he goes summon Lurry after using the Tract and grabbing the Engraver, and he goes for like just a basic old combo. Goes for the Necro Equip, dumps Engraver, grabs Tract in order to get the draw off of the Necro Equip, and then on the Engraver, I go ahead and remove the Druisworm. I don't want him to set up DDD, as it's actually pretty good against his deck, all things considered. And then he normal summons Ice, special summons Sword, grabs the X, synchros off into the Chaos Angel because he has not been rank 4 locked, and then from here, I mean, he's gonna have a really strong board. He has a Light and Dark Chaos Angel, you know, Cross with the Do Drive for a negate. My monsters lose 100 attack, and his detonator has 3 pop. So yeah, I am at the mercy of my homie's like board here. It's not something impossible to break, but it's unlikely that I will, right? Especially with the recovery from Eclipse Twins, so even if I break his board, he gets Detonator back, so I'd have to be careful as to how I actually break it. But it really depends on what my draws are here, so I go for the Extrav. I do the impermanent draw phase, so, you know, just in case people are wondering. And I draw Sanctuary plus Olcanex, not the best draws at all. And yeah, I have to scoop it up. After the draw, you really can't do much, so yeah. Now, I am starting with Garunix, Sanctuary, Double Judgment, and Nib, whereas he has Cross Out, Node, Meows, Ash, and Lurry. So I go for the Sanctuary, activate Island. He actually lets me get the search off. And then I normal summon Ponix, grab the Skyburn. I feel like this is the best way to, you know, get the Garunix to actually, like, activate during my opponent's turn. Now, he could have ashed me there, but, you know, honestly, I probably would have ashed. I guess he just didn't want to play into a talent, right? That would be, like, the only thing. But I think not allowing your opponent to resolve Island is, like, really important. So, yeah, let's see. I mean, his opening hand is not like the greatest. He did kind of break, right? I mean, he has the Lurry to start, but you don't really want to see the one-ofs in your deck, right? Anyways, so yeah, I decide not to grab Olcanex because I don't think there's a feasible way for me to trigger the Olcanex and then get the Garunix and everything, right? So nothing's gonna fall into place. I can't go for Kirin because, again, I can't do anything with it, or Arvata. So yeah, I think Ponix is like the only thing that I can go for. And then I just said 3 pass. He draws into the Tract, which is not too bad. Discards the Engraver, and instead of like keeping it so that he can potentially get like a draw off of a Necroquip, he decides to just normal summon Lurry because he doesn't have anything for it. But I think this play is wrong. I think he should have just discarded the Lurry, because if he does get far enough to make Necroquip and get a draw potentially, and it's a Ryzeal, his node just becomes 1,000 times better, right? But he decides to normal summon it anyways, and I'm like, okay, now I'll pop it. And if he is going to go any further from there, I have Judgment, right? From here, he goes for the Meows after I trigger Garunix Chainlink 1, and then Garunix is going to dump the Olcanex. He goes Ash on the Olcanex, which is fine here because it stops me from getting a level 8 Garunix to Sanctuary pop, right? And then, yeah, he goes attempt to link summon the Requiem, and I just stop that completely. Now, from here, I just have to make sure that I don't play into a Nibiru, right? And so, you know, he goes Perulia. I'm like, okay. I go Island, search Kieran. And then I go Kieran, pop the Ponix special, and then trigger Garunix. And now this is lethal because this is 36 plus 27 equals 40. 50, 63 plus 24 equals 87, I think. So yeah, that's game. And then we go to a new match, right? The new match here is going to be great as there is actually an illegal play here. I'll you know, talk about it and go over what I could have done instead. But yeah, I start again. I'm just a god at rock, paper, scissors, clearly. Sanctuary, Kieran, Garunix, Imperm, Ash. Honestly, pretty good. I do play this a little weird. It's kind of scuffed, and you'll see. But my opponent has Ice, Sword, Fulos, Engraver, and Bonfire. Overall, not too bad. I go for the Sanctuary, activate Island, and then activate the Kieran, popping the Garunix. And then Island, popping the Kieran in order to search for the Olcanix. And then I'm able to summon the Garunix, pop the Arvata, and then summon the Kieran from the graveyard with the Arvata effect. Now from here he goes Fulos effect to potentially get a draw, but I don't really go into the extra deck with this deck, especially not game one, because I don't want to play into a Nibiru. So, you know. But anyways, this would be my third summon here. And then I go normal summon Olcanix, pop the Garunix to grab a Kieran from the deck. And that's my fourth summon. And then I set the Imperm, end phase. Kieran gets popped because of Arvata, and I just want to make sure destroy it during the end phase. Yeah. And then the Kieran is going to be able to summon the Arvata, so I established myself a monster negate, a monster through the Olcanix, Garunix, pop Kieran, special, you know, the works. And then I got a rank 8, blow up the entire field. I got an Imperm and an Ash. I feel pretty good, but I play this wrong, and luckily I don't get punished for it. But I'll show you like the misplays that occurred here. So he discards Engraver, grabs Tract to grab Lurie discards special, and then I just negate the effect to have it be summoned back. Now the reason being is I don't want him to have access to Link 1 with the Engraver so that he can threaten my Arvata. In hindsight, I think I should have just Ash Blossom the Tract, because that would mean that if he does have Lurie in hand, he would have to normal summon it to gain value, and if he doesn't, then he has to push forward with the Ryzeal stuff, and then I think from there, the Arvata plus the Kieran and everything would have solidified the game for me. So yeah, I think I should have ashed early. Luckily though, I do keep it because he does have Bonfire, which can get him access to what's his face, to X to stop the Sanctuary. But yeah, we'll see how. So I think that's like misplay number 1. I'll probably keep it somewhere on the board. And then he goes, shuffles back Lurie, special summoning the what's his face, Engraver. And then I go chain Kieran to pop the Arvata summon, and then in the new chain Garunix, pop the Kieran from deck, summon back the Arvata, and pop the Engraver. So I'm in dangerous territory here, right? Like, what was that? That was 1 summon, 2 summon, 3 summon, 4. So I'm playing into Nib now, and I have to be careful, but I think the risk is going to pay off if I can stop him from being able to establish a Chaos Angel. Now, here he has Bonfire. I go Ash. It's good that he baited the Ash there, although I think either way, it would have been the same way no matter how he sequenced it. But I think that is a better spot to get Ash than, you know, the Sword, because then you have to commit another card and summon another card on the field to be able to search. And then, I don't know. I guess it's not like the worst thing. But we'll see here later that, again, his misplays ended up making up for my misplays here. So he goes Sword, and on the summon, I go Sanctuary, and then I summon it in defense. Not only do I summon it in defense, but I overlay using the Garunix. I think I should have used the Kieran, because here's the thing, right? So I already played into Nib, and if I had overlaid over the Kieran instead of the Fire King High Avatar Garunix, I have a monster that I can summon in my next standby phase that I can use at that point island to pop it and then actually get like value off of. And instead, I overlay with the Grunix because I'm thinking in my head, I don't want to lose my board next turn. But I also have to keep it, right? So it should have been like my follow-up play if I get nipped. Because now if I get nipped here, I get no follow-up play, right? So something to keep in mind. I definitely played that wrong. And also I summoned it in defense. I was scared of a Druid Worm, but I shouldn't have been scared about Druid Worm whatsoever. I think I should have just summoned it in attack, and if he has a Druid Worm, again, it shouldn't have ever mattered because the Garunic should have been destroyed anyways. So, I blow up the board, and then I summon the Kirin off of the Arvata. I don't think I used that effect yet here. He summons X, and then summons Node. He can't really discard for Node because then he loses his access to cross. He overlays, attaches one, and then searches follow up with Ice and Sword because you don't really want to, what's it called? The pitch Ice summon because you don't get to make another rank 4, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think you can. So he goes and attacks my Kirin. I think what he should have done is attack the Eternity. I attempt to use the effect, he negates, and then end phase I lose my Kirin, leaving me with no follow-up. So because he decided to attack the Kirin instead, I end up actually gaining value from that. So for the future, if you are me, don't put yourself in this position where it could have been a lot worse than what it should have been. So from here, cross, shuffle back, draw one, he draws into a bonfire, and then my turn starts with a extravagance, and I'll gladly take draw two. Not the best draws, but hey, it happened, right? I'm up 2 cards. And then from here, I have to get rid of both of these cards in order to move forward, so I attack over the Duo Drive, dealing 300, popped his field spell, search my Ponix with, you know, the island, and then I get Chainlink 1, Garunix, Chainlink 2, Hyang, to summon Kirin and have the Garunix here. So this is second summon. Then I pop Ponix effect, pop, and then search the Skyburn, and then I end here. Now again, I think this is still another misplay. I think what I should have done is gone for like a heat up potentially. Not to summon anything necessarily, although I could have. But to, what's it called, have this in the graveyard so that I can summon it back later. Instead, I'm basically banking on XC summoning again, right? So I think that was something that I should have done because it's only the 3rd summon. And if I do decide to go for Princess, I don't know. I guess it's something that I have to keep in mind for the future. I'll learn how to optimize my plays better when I'm in these type of situations. But yeah, he goes X into Sword, Sanctuary, summon the Eternity. He tries to take with talents, and I pop with Skyburn, and then I go Eternity to summon Arvata and the Kirin, and I think, yeah. So I get to summon 2 because of the amount of materials it had. From here, he summons X, ditches Eclipse. He tries to chain block me here, but unfortunately he had sent the Aggregator instead of the Eclipse last turn. And he doesn't have another rank 4 engrave, so he can't. So all he has is the Ice Ryzeal. And so I negate with the Arvata, Kirin, special summon back Garunix, popping the Ice, or the X rather, and then we go to game number 2. Long explanations, I know, but I feel like I had to put my mentality on what I should have done instead. Now the video is getting kind of long, so I'll try to wrap it up here with this game number 2. Game number 2, he starts Tracked for Engraver, discards Lurie, and decides, I'm gonna discard the Requiem. Now here, it makes a lot more sense for him to want to keep the Lurie in hand, because you want to get rid of the Paradise. Unless, you go for like, fuck it, ball in, and go deep into the Agnumde play so that you can have like the negate plus the board wipe, which may be better in this circumstance. Who knows? Now, I chained Fuolo so I can get a guaranteed draw 1. He dumps the Engraver, which is fine. And then goes Engraver, Search Tract, decides not to give me any more cards. He feels safe with the Nib plus the Veiler here, and passes. Now from here, you might be wondering, why didn't you Kieran during his, main phase? Well, at this point now I know that he has the talents because he used it in this game 1, right? So now I have to fear for getting my hand ripped and anything else, right? I don't want to potentially lose because I gave him a turn to play extra, right? Obviously though, had it been, regular, like if it was game 1 still, I probably would have summoned the Kieran. But whenever you do test play against your homies, just make sure to always make game 1s blind. Because it's really bad testing if you're like in the mentality of, oh, well now I know what you're playing because we played, already. Yeah, don't do that. We call that Nico test play, and we don't like Nico test play. So now we go normal summon the Ponix. He goes Veiler, and luckily I have the Kieran to stop the targeting and grab the Sanctuary. He goes Fiendsmith in Paradise, send the Desiree to put away my Kieran, and that play is fine because you don't want to guarantee me not having like a fire. Instead, might as well remove the problem right then and there so that the Sanctuary and the island gets no value. But I'm able to get value anyways because I do have Kieran in hand. And then that is, let's see, summon number 2. So this is going to be summon number 3 with the Garunix. Garunix effect, dump the Arvata. This is summon number 4. And I decide to actually go for the attack over the Lacrima. Might as well get the damage in. As you can see, I'm stopping myself at 4 summons so I don't play into the Nibiru, which he ended up having. Although I could have Dominus Impulsed at that point, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it was worth me going further. I don't think the plays here are crazy because I'm not playing Snake Eyes, right? So anyways, I go for a meaty 3600 here, and then end phase Kieran pop itself because of the Arvata effect, and then Kieran summon the Arvata. Now here's where I did an illegal play. I go Dominus Impulse on the Lacrima. Wholeheartedly, I should have just negated with the Arvata because I cannot activate Impulse if he doesn't control a card. So that's illegal play. But honestly, if I had done the correct play, which the legal play was to pop the Garunix to negate the Lacrima, I would have had a fire monster to negate next turn. As you'll see here in the standby phase, I grab back the Ponix, right? And so me not having Garunix on board is great for 2 reasons. Number 1, it means that I have Garunix in graveyard so that I can trigger its effect to summon next turn. And number 2, I still have a fire monster to be able to trigger it with the Arvata. And I would have had an extra Dominus Impulse, which doesn't matter. But the important thing that this does is it makes my Nib stay live. Because if you don't activate it from your hand, you are locked into lights, right? Like if you activate it in hand, you're locked, but if you don't and it's activated from it's being set, your Nibirus, your Veilers, and everything will still stay alive. So legal play and the misplay. So that's like the 3rd or 4th misplay that I counted from myself. Now from here, he goes Engraver, shuffle back the Desiree, and I impulse that. He goes Tract, but then he's like, wait, I don't got Requiem in the deck, so it doesn't make sense for me to do that. And that's probably another misplay from him. Perhaps he should have shuffled back the Requiem instead of the Desiree. But like, if you don't have Desiree, your sequence play is very weak because then you don't have a fusion to like go off of. I don't know. Him not being able to get the Lacrima is what really ends up hurting, in my opinion. But yeah, he summons X, I stop it with the Arvata, then I special summon the Ponix, Ponix grabs Skyburn, he goes for the Tract, summon the Lurie, go for the sequence, shuffle back the Engraver, and then summon the Desiree. This is where he actually ended up playing it very correctly here. And then he goes for Diagnum Day. This is where things are a little rough. I have a fire here and I have a Nib. And I'm thinking, if he decides to attack into it, I'm fine. But I think he should not have attacked into it. You'll see here why. So he does a raise, sends my Arvata to the graveyard, which is fine here. And then he decides to attack the Ponix. And I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, damage step. Summon Garunix, send the Kirin, pop the Agnumde, and even though he has Lacrima, I have the Arvata to stop it. So that's another misplay from him. I think what he should have done is gone straight to end phase. I probably don't nib here because I need the fire on field to trigger the island, right? And then next turn, let's see, he would negate, or at least attempt to negate island plus the sanctuary when I trigger it, and then I can Skyburn, right? Because let me see, up to the link rating of the link monsters equipped to this card. Yeah. Then from there I would have been able to Skyburn and pop it, and then it can't negate, I don't think, because it no longer has a monster equipped on field, nor is it on field there anyways, right? So I guess like I would pop itself, right? Yeah. And then the Agnumde goes, and then he can summon it back with Lacrima, but then I stop it. No, I can't stop it right there, but it does at least allow me to trigger the Garunix, right? As well as finish off the island, which would resolve without. Yeah, it would resolve improperly, so I guess I would have had to draw a fire. So I guess even there, the play isn't that crazy, but yeah, it definitely would have not guaranteed me game. So GG's to my homie. I had a lot of fun testing this deck. I think it's something that I'm gonna build IRL. Is it Blue Eyes? No. Is it Maliss? No. But it's something that I think it fits closer to my playstyle, and I'm gonna be playing it in person from now on. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Peace, stay safe, and I'll upload another one later.